After Tesla stock went up hundreds of percents, the short sellers went silent. They had no news coverage in the media, and it's likely because they have ran out of excuses to continue shorting Tesla stock. So I'm going to unpack all of the Tesla short seller arguments up before and see why they don't fit in the current context of Tesla. The big boys are coming and they are going to destroy Tesla once they get in the EV market.
Hey, back this up. How long have you been short Tesla?
So we've been shorted 4 years. But the bigger problem is that Porsche's coming.
How expensive? Sorry.
Hold on, say that again. You think
Porsche's coming.
With their own car.
Porsche's coming with the Mission E, and
so is Jaguar with the I-Pace.
And so is Audi with the e-tron. And now the big boys are coming. And they're coming with sexy looking cars at the same price point with better features, faster cars, great styling. And so what was unique for Tesla is no longer unique.
Okay, but then the question.
So, since Tesla's existence, we've had no competition. When I say competition, 100% battery electric vehicle with over 200 miles of range. Last year, you had the first car, the Chevy Volt. Tesla said in the first half of last year they were going to grow Model S and X sales by 66%. The number was only 7%. Why? Because Chevy Volt came in and took a bunch of share. This year we have the Jaguar I-Pace, we have the Audi e-tron, we have the Hyundai Kona, and we have the Nissan Leaf. All cars 100% BEV with over 200 miles of range. For the first time ever, they're having competition. Dieselgate for VW. They're coming in with a bunch of electric cars. They have real competition for the first time. They're not creating a new industry. The auto industry has been around forever, and they have real competition for people who know how to produce coming in. You have to look at cash flow. You have to look at their ability to compete. You're basing everything on belief in a man. You're a financial analyst. You're supposed to look at the numbers and do analysis.
This is easily one of the worst arguments a Tesla short seller has ever said. Porsche's coming? Their Mission E underperformed the Model S by a significant amount. Slower 0 to 60, lower top speed, lower range, and a massive price tag. And don't even get started about the $75,000 Audi e-tron. The thing costs more than multiple Model 3s, and it seriously can't even compare with the Model 3. And you right there, talking about the Jaguar I-Pace?
It was Jaguar with the I-Pace.
This $70,000 vehicle still does not even compare with the Model 3. Again, a much cheaper vehicle. It's clear that what Chanos calls the big boys, they don't stand a chance. Musk is a liar. He's putting out all these false expectations for Tesla, and he will never meet these expectations.
Let's just say we think Mr. Musk and Tesla has a broad interpretation of the truth. There have been all kinds of announcements that this company has made, just in flippant comments that are public statements that turned out not to be true. For example, most recently, he unveiled the Tesla Semi, and the Roadster. And he said the Semi will be available in 2019, the Roadster in 2020. Where is he producing those? Those production lines have to be up and approved now, years before we get final production.
But there are companies like Pepsi who are happy to give them the money now to reserve that. What do you think those announcements are all about?
Those are all about being green and showing their customers. Mercedes-Benz has electric semis on the roads right now testing. You don't hear them crowing about this every day. You don't see the CEO, coming out. They're on the roads testing. And so it's not as if electric semi-cabs are new. They've been out. And so it's remarkable that this company keeps hyping things that are all the way out.
I do have to admit that Musk does put out a lot of ambitious expectations, but this isn't an excuse to short the stock. As many famous investors say, a stock's price over the long term shouldn't be based off of expectations or all these internal side effects. Over the long term, a stock's movements should be based off of earnings. Tesla can't make profits, they're going to keep going into a financial disaster, and they won't make it out. At a point, they will hit a rock bottom, and they will fall apart.
Gordon, it sounds like you're not too hot on Tesla's future here.
No, I'm not that hot on Tesla's future. And quite frankly, we find it kind of ridiculous. I'm a financial analyst, and what I do is analysis. And if you look at what Tesla's done over the past, since their beginning, if If you look at their free cash flow, as a business, you need to make cash. Last year, they burnt about $3.5 billion in free cash flow. Last quarter, they burnt $1 billion. And everybody's focused on Model 3 production. And if you look at the numbers that came out from Business Insider, the numbers through June, if you do the math, suggest they're only producing less than 2,000 cars per week. They're targeting 5,000. Elon Musk has put out tweets suggesting they're at 3.5. So maybe the SEC should look into that. But we're not focused on any of that. The point is, do they make cash? Do they make money on cars produced? The answer is no. You did the montage of what they've done over the past few years. Let me give some statistics. In 2015, Elon Musk said they were going to be cash flow positive. They burnt $1.4 billion in cash that year. He missed those targets. In 2015, he said the Model S was going to have a gross margin of 25%. He said the Model X was going to have a gross margin of 30%. That year, they reported gross margins of 22%. I could go on and on. He's missed a lot of targets. He continues to miss targets. He continues to burn cash. I'm a financial analyst. I'm not an enthusiast. And for that fact, you got to look at the numbers, not the man and be an enthusiast about a man. You have to look at the numbers.
If we showed this guy that Tesla made a profit in 2019, his argument would be immediately demolished. Tesla has a slight profit in 2019, and that's enough to say that they're not losing money. And look at what the guy on the left says after this short seller talks about all these numbers. He really just completely destroys the short seller's argument, and the short seller gets a little angry.
Final word, Trip?
You are looking at the wrong numbers. The number is to look is revenues, how did they generate revenues, and what the backlog is.
What about cash flow? If you don't make any cash flow, how do you remain as an ongoing entity if you're burning billions of dollars every quarter? How?
A question for you.
How do you
these
stay in
all
business if you're burning billions of dollars every quarter?
These all are irrelevant. The only thing that matters to the stock, how does that matter to the stock? Nothing. It has nothing to do with stock.
But it's not about stock price.
What matters for the stock is what matters for the stock is.
Are you an analyst?
How big is the backlog? How big is the backlog? Show me any of your competition that you named, even if they have 5 cars in their backlog. None. Tesla has more than $14.5 billion in backlog. No company in any industry, anywhere on the planet, has that much backlog. Why? Because you need to have multi-dimensional competency. That is, you should have capabilities and capacities in your production, in your supercharging stations, in your software. Think about it. People are talking about Waymo as an autonomous car. What does it look like? Do you think you'll have that car in your garage? They look like a reindeer. So basically, when you think about autonomous, it is individual autonomous cars, it is fleet autonomous cars, and then urban density cars. And there's only one company who has the foresight, software skills, and the intellect, and that is Tesla.
You know, it's a great debate.
Don't even come close. Look at your competition you name. Do they have software skills? No. Do they have superchargers? No. Do they have gigafactory? No. Do they have a backlog?
But do you realize they just recently transitioned to a charging network nationwide?
Gentlemen, we are out of time. Thank you both very much for joining us.
Now, David Einhorn, another famous Tesla short seller, also tried to argue about this Tesla not making money. And this is really just a terrible argument. Yes, Tesla's not making money sometimes, but that's only because they're trying to spend their capital on growing more and more, taking away market share from other car companies. There's no other company that is attempting to build as many gigafactories as Tesla, and that's because they keep burning this capital in order for them to grow more in the long term.
Again today, Musk tweeting a letter to Einhorn saying that his latest quarterly letter was ripe with, quote, false allegations against Tesla. Musk said Einhorn was only making those to save face with his investors after Tesla's successful third quarter. Einhorn fired back, noting that they both struggled last year, but that a big difference was that his firm, Greenlight, had generated real profits for their investors since they began in '96. Einhorn said that his Tesla short hasn't performed badly, although that stock has soared 40% over the last month, guys.
Tesla's self-driving is absolutely terrible. Other automaker companies are already jumping into this sector, and Tesla's seriously behind in this sector.
I was in Detroit yesterday and spent the evening before, some auto execs and talking about this. And they're sort of shaking their heads because already Detroit has leapfrogged Tesla in autonomy. GM is certainly at or past their level. The Germans are past their level. Waymo, which is at level 4, Google's operation is at level 4. Tesla's at 2. Audi's at 3. So you already have a company that is supposedly a technological leader that is behind in the most exciting part of the technology, autonomy. And so we're puzzled. But don't ask us. Just ask the scores of executives who have left in the last 2 years.
Yeah, there has been a lot.
We have a spreadsheet, and I have to keep expanding the spreadsheet because it keeps growing.
Now this is just an awful argument by Jim Chanos. Tesla is the only company with a significant amount of data about self-driving. They have over 2 billion miles logged of self-driving. Waymo and GM are struggling to get 1 million or 2 million miles logged. Tesla will continue to be at the top of the autonomous industry, mainly because they have all these mass market vehicles out on the road collecting data for free. On the other hand, companies like Waymo, they have to pay drivers to drive out there and get self-driving data for them. These companies just can't compete with Tesla because they don't have enough data about self-driving. Tesla's been logging miles since 2016, and these companies just won't be able to catch up because Tesla is just too far ahead. So if Chanos hasn't been on the media, where is he? Has he covered on his Tesla short position yet? I think this video clip sums it up.
How much longer can you keep the Tesla short on?
Oh, I think most short positions you can keep on indefinitely. There's no time frame on them. It's just a matter of price and your willingness to hold and either take temporary losses or book profits. So there's no time frame on a short sale.
If you guys enjoyed this video, please smash the like button and subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I read every single comment. I hope to see you in another video.